guys, this is MrNoDStudios, and today we are going to be talking about the death of YouTube. So before we get into anything, I want to just go ahead and start off by saying I personally don't think that YouTube is currently dead, or that it's dying, or that it's going to go down a dying path within at least the next decade. I think YouTube is here to stay for at least, at the very minimum, another decade or so, maybe even more, probably even more than that, but I'm going to go very, very, very minimalist and just go ahead and say that YouTube is probably going to be with us for the next 10 years at the minimum, the absolute minimum. And statistically speaking, if you go ahead and take a look at YouTube and their viewership rates, there's definitely growth there. There's thousands upon thousands, if not millions, of people signing up every single week for YouTube accounts, and we're talking about people who have never used YouTube before. They're just now coming into YouTube, they're just discovering it, and now they're starting to use it on a daily to weekly basis. So there's definitely some growth there. There's an absolutely astronomical amount of growth going on in terms of viewership. And then also, if you take a look at it from the other side, the content creator side, there's definitely a lot of growth there as well. You know, there's thousands upon thousands of new channels propping up with people uploading to them regularly every single day. You know, it's absolutely insane. And all of this growth has occurred while Google has made some pretty shitty decisions. I mean, if you look just over the past 4 or 5 years, you'll find a ton of updates that Google made to YouTube that viewers didn't really like, and also that content creators didn't really like. There's a lot of broken features on YouTube that really, really suck. Like, if you take a look at the copyright system for content creators here on YouTube, it's really shitty. It's at a really crappy point right now, and it's just a really broken system that they have in place. But in spite of that, we're still seeing an astronomical amount of growth. So I think without a doubt, you can safely say that YouTube is not dying in any means as of this date. As of right now, YouTube is not dying. We're pretty much in the clear for the next decade, at least I think. So with all that out of the way, I'd like to go ahead and tackle the question of when will YouTube actually die? And honestly, it's really hard to say when YouTube is going to die and how much longer it's going to be alive for. That's a really difficult thing to say. And honestly, your guess is as good as my guess. Anything could happen to YouTube in even a decade, and even a year or two. Insane amounts of change and progress could happen for YouTube. It's just really not fair for me to say when YouTube will die. I think the most important thing, though, to know is that everything has a beginning and an end. For example, if you guys take a look at all of your beloved PC gaming rigs, eventually that's going to become outdated, right? Or simply it's just going to die. Your parts are going to be too old and they aren't going to be able to function any longer, and they're going to die. You're going to need to get new parts eventually. It's much in the same respect with YouTube. And even if you take a look at your existence as a human, you take a look at your life, that has a definite beginning and it's going to have a definite end. Everything in this life has a definite beginning and an end, and that's very unfortunate with a bunch of things, including your own life. But that's just the way life works out, unfortunately. There will always be a beginning and an end to something. There's gonna be a beginning and the end to the internet. Maybe it'll get replaced, maybe we'll just die, and that'll be the end of the internet. That'll be the end of Reddit and 4chan. Holy shit, that'll be the day! No, but seriously, everything in this life has a beginning and an end, and I think that's very important to know. It's pretty much the same exact thing with YouTube. There's a beginning and an end, as I just said. Now, predicting that end is a huge, huge gray area, and I'm really not going to delve into that. I mean, honestly, your guess, like I just said before, is as good as mine. We can all speculate on when YouTube is going to die, maybe in a decade, maybe in 2 decades, maybe 3, but really, we don't know. It's impossible to see into the future, and it's impossible to see when YouTube is going to actually die. So to sum it all up, yes, I think YouTube will eventually die. However, I think on the flip side, we are good for at least, like I said before, another decade here on YouTube. It's a very stable platform despite the horrendous copyright system and a few other horrendous features that YouTube has. But despite that, I think YouTube is definitely going to be around for the next 10 years, although it eventually does have to end. That's just simply the cycle of life. So what happens to the content creator and the viewer when YouTube eventually dies? First of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the viewer. Now, I personally think long after the death of YouTube, internet entertainment is going to reign supreme. The TV is going to be outdated within a few decades, maybe even. And the internet is going to be the primary source of video entertainment. That being said, there's always going to be very large websites out there on the internet run by very large organizations where content creators will be able to upload content for free and even make a little bit of money off of it through a system similar to Google AdSense, or maybe it'll be a subscription model similar to YouTube Red, or maybe it'll just be based off of donations. We really do not know. That system could be whatever it wants to be in the future. It really just depends on what that website and what that organization decides on as an individual entity. However, there's always from this point on going to be a website where content creators are going to be able to upload content. It's always going to exist, and whether that is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Vine, anything, whatever that is, Daily Motion. Maybe it'll be Daily Motion. Maybe YouTube will go out the window and Daily Motion will be the new YouTube. Maybe that'll happen, but there's always going to be a website for content creators to post content. And it's very much the same with viewers themselves. There's always going to be a place on the internet similar to YouTube where content creators will be able to upload content, and then viewers will be able to flock there and support their favorite content creators and get a huge amount of entertainment and happiness from those videos. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the content creators themselves. Now I see in the comment section of bigger YouTubers a lot, I see, what is going to happen to this YouTuber when YouTube isn't a thing anymore? How are they going to pay the bills? Now, if YouTube were to die tomorrow, which, by the way, it probably won't, I'm really hoping it won't, but if YouTube were to die tomorrow, people with under, I'm going to say about 500,000 subscribers would be hurt dearly, absolutely dearly. I mean, if you go ahead and take a look at all of the people who have 500 subscribers or less, and you take a look at their various social media pages, their YouTube channel is usually by far their most viewed, their most subscribed to, and most followed page. So if you go ahead and take out their YouTube channel and just leave them with other things like Twitter and Facebook, they're going to lose a large majority of their viewership. I mean, just go ahead and take a look for yourself. If you look at various channels with under 500,000 subscribers, and there are a few oddballs, I will give you that, but for the most part, people with under 500,000 subscribers are going to have more viewers on their YouTube page than on their social media portals like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And that's just really how the dice rolls, because these people have basically become situated on YouTube. That's where they started out, maybe. So their websites and Facebooks and Twitters have their hardcore fans, while YouTube is more of their casual fan base, and it's a lot larger, and it has a huger following than their social media pages. So if you're looking at the bottom half exclusively, it is going to, without a doubt, absolutely crush the content creator. I know personally, if I were to lose my YouTube channel tomorrow and YouTube were to completely shut down, I would be screwed. There is such a small portion of the MrNoDStudios family that actually follows me on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and all of those other things. There's such a small portion of you guys, which is perfectly fine. I mean, if you're only here for my YouTube channel, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to, go and visit all of my other social media pages. But I'm just saying, if YouTube were to shut down, I would lose a considerable amount of the MrNoDStudios family. We'd be completely broken up. Now, on the flip side of things, if you go ahead and take a look at the top half, I really don't think they would be affected too much. Especially so if you're taking a look at someone like PewDiePie, Markiplier, someone who is really situated in the YouTube community. They live out in LA, they have their own apartment out there, they have connections, they're connected with their multi-channel networks. Those people are definitely not going to be affected as much as the smaller channels. Now, I don't want to say that they won't be affected at all. They will definitely lose some viewers. However, they are not going to be affected nearly at the level that some of these smaller guys will be affected. So take a look at PewDiePie, for example. Since he has a much larger viewer base here on YouTube, he is therefore going to have a much larger following and viewer base on his various social media pages. And so since there's a lot more people on his various social media pages, if YouTube were to ever go down, a lot of his fan base would be able to still be in contact with him and see what's happening through the transition, see where he's going to be producing content next. And also, the other portion of the equation is that PewDiePie probably has enough money saved up to live very comfortably for the rest of his entire life without even working a single day. He's probably good right now. He could probably drop YouTube and live completely comfortably in the United States, completely comfortably in LA for the rest of his life. Now, that isn't to say that someone like PewDiePie wouldn't have trouble with a transition. It's just, it would affect someone like PewDiePie to an extremely lesser extent than to someone who has less than 500,000 subscribers and who is doing YouTube for a living. So that's all I really have to say for this video. Will YouTube ever die? Of course, that is without a doubt a yes. Although I don't see YouTube dying within at least the next decade. I think YouTube is very secure right now. It's where all of the content creators are, and unless the content creators and the multi-channel networks move their business elsewhere, Google is going to be fine. They're going to maintain all of their money, all of their income. YouTube is going to be fine. We're going to be fine with YouTube. Even if YouTube specifically isn't alive and well, there's always going to be another service on the internet where people can upload and view videos for free. And I really think that this system, the YouTube system, where really anybody, the average Joe, can be in his home office and upload a video to the internet and start making a career out of it, as opposed to having to go down to LA, apply for jobs there, get hooked up into all of the cable shit, have to pay for your own spot in a TV channel and all of that shit. I really just think that YouTube is going to replace that, and the internet model is definitely going to replace cable eventually and completely wipe it out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Will YouTube ever die? And if it does ever die, what will happen? So first of all, I'd like to thank each and every single one of you for staying through this whole entire video with me, Matt from MrNoDStudios. If you guys enjoyed this one, please leave a like, please comment, and please subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions for commentary videos like this, please hit me up with a comment. I'm open to all sorts of suggestions, and I would really appreciate it if anyone had any ideas. So once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!